Well, hello and welcome to the next bulb log, garden diary walk. I thought I'd begin this out the front, approaching the house, which you can see the front is, if you read my written journal, my written weekly diary, or monthly diary as it is now, you'll be familiar with it. It's known as the jungle. But the driveways are generously planted. It's a very green. There's no hardcore, hard standing. There's no lock block here. There's concrete slabs that allow the wee car to come in and out. And then where all the bulbs and the early spring flowers were, and the daphnes and everything else, it's now grown up into this wonderful, wild looking mass of flowers. Here we have plants seeding around, aquilegias. There's the poppies, there's orchids, there's the Corydalis Creighton blue, and all sitting under the cloud pruned tree. If we come along the wee path along the front of the house, there's the pseudofumaria. Some of you may still call it Corydalis lutea. There's the alba form. We've got the ranunculus, just the wild buttercups. I would pick a time when there's a little surge of cars. There's traffic lights further, not far away, and the cars tend to come in little clusters. But underneath the front we've got the big rhododendrons above my head. Moving up to the other drive, where we don't have the car very often, and is much lusher in growth. We have all sorts of things here. So we've got the phytumas, spicata, we've got the digitalis grandifloras, and earlier in the year this was all made up of the bulbs, erythroniums, crocus, narcissus, and now it's the geranium sanguineums. And it creates a lovely green area. There's clovers and all sorts come through it, and it's a lovely mix of wild and cultivated. So right from the get-go, as you approach the house, you get the sense that these are gardeners that embrace all plants. Up there where we had to get a new fence here and we had to cut back the embothrium, not the embothrium, names slipped me mind, South American. I'm sure you all know it. It'll come to me in a minute, and I'll say it in a minute. So what happens as you get older, you start to forget names, but it was hard cut back, and it just shows you how well they respond to being cut back. And so we come through the back here. The big camellias growing up here against the wall of the next door's extension. The old pot store when we used to grow so much in pots. And then we're going to come through the back gate and emerge into the back garden. And that plant's name is Crinodendron, the red lantern plant. It comes to me now. It always comes back, it just takes some, the recall doesn't always work instantly. And so even in the troughs, we've got troughs where we welcome the volunteers, the little plants that seed around. we should encourage them and not despise them, because these are the plants they want to grow for us. And while we constantly try to grow the rare and the difficult stuff that's challenging, it challenges us to try and get it to grow, and it challenges the plant because it doesn't really want to grow in our climate or our conditions. Then things like the wee Erinus alpinus that grows in the troughs and seeds itself around is a wonderful thing. Again, we've got the wee tiny display troughs with the saxifrages up in the raised beds at the moment. The early stuff again is over, so we're quite happy to have the Meconopsis cambrica, or papaver as you might call it now. And even here there's a wee Achillea, a wild Achillea plant, and down growing amongst the bottom of it is the wee potentilla. Both of these I brought back as cuttings from the seaside here, just 2 miles down the hill at the seaside. And then we've got the wee, more unusual, the potentilla pulvinaris, which again is a great wee plant that seeds around. And if I come here, down there you'll see it seeds into the gravel, and there's various plants of it as it seeds around. And that's what I want when I get a plant in. I want it to seed around. So that to me is a success, when a plant seeds around. If you hear the lovely singing up there, that's a goldfinch. That lovely trill song singing away up there in the trees, because we get a lot of goldfinches and siskins coming into the bird feeders. Come round here, we can see the greenhouses. The bulb houses are all completely down now. Work will go on in there to repot them soon, but I just spotted here this growing here right in amongst other plants, Roscoias. And a dianthus growing in a container. But again, it's been the Aranthus that have been wonderful. They're just going over now. And I do grow, but I still do sow some pots of seed. But strangely enough, the seeds, this is Anthuricus. You may or may not know that's cow parsley. And this is Ligusticum scoticum. Again, a plant that I brought seed back from the seashore, down here, just 2 miles down the hill. So it's more often going to be weedy seeds that I'm bringing back at the moment than the rare and difficult that we've grown through our gardening lives. And you come up, and of course the digitalis foxgloves, absolutely stunning. They're very, very great, and the growing with the Lilium pyrenaicum, more of the yellow poppies, and in there you'll see the lovely Aracema. The whole jungle of Aracema is coming up there as well. And this is in the bed where earlier on there was the early primula. Oh, I see Roscoias coming in there at the moment just now as well. And where the snowdrops and the Aranthus and all the early crocus and that were flowering here in such profusion, and the wee anemone that ran and covered the bed. Now it's the bigger summer things that cover. They cover the Geranium robertianum, and there's the Lapsana, that tall, again a garden weed. I'll find you one further round. to show you. But a great wee thing. They all attract us. You'll hear the bees buzzing about. We've got lots of different kinds of bees. And so it's that mix. It's the wee prunellas as well in the slabs all over the place. People don't like it when it gets in their lawn. They try and weed kill it out. Well, please don't. Let it go. What about the plantago right in the middle of the path? The plantain. Why not? It's a magnificent plant. We often underappreciate these plants because they're so willing. We see them so commonly about, and they get lumbered with that name, weed. Well, look at this. This is your Lipsana. This is your wee nipplewort in flower. Really rather attractive. Flowers don't last long, and then if you don't want it to seed around once it's flowered, you can pluck it out. These aquilegias that have flowered and are now falling over, their stems will get cut back, which may encourage secondary flowerings, and it'll stop the seeding becoming too prolific if you don't want it to. More lilies, the Lilium martigans, they seed around as well. They seed out into the path, which can become a bit of a problem. The ground cover of the dicentra will soon die back. We've here the lovely growth of the ovularia, and here we can see the swelling seed pods. I'll watch for that seed to ripen and gather it, because there's no point in it falling on the concrete path. I'll put it somewhere it can grow. But later today my job is to come and chop back some of these aquilegia stems that are finished flowering and are now collapsing over the path. But as I spoke about the jungle out the front, it's every bit as much a jungle out the back. And here you can see the wee Lipsana, the wee nippleworts. Look at them, these little yellow flowers dancing about in the wind. Not causing a problem to anyone and giving us pleasure and delight. And then the different Silenes. And so the jungle continues. The orchids were still having trouble with those bacterial fungal infection that attacked and took out so many of our orchids. But some do survive, and we've still got some, and my everlasting hope is that if we allow them to seed and they keep seeding, eventually there'll be an element of resistance comes into the population here. I see another Ruscoia. I tend to like brighter flowers over dark flowers for the simple reason you don't see the dark ones so clearly, but a dark Ruscoia there, and the red campion, another Silene. The ferny foliages of different Corydalus. The blue Corydalus is Crichton blue in there, and the ferny ones, an unnamed Corydalus we grew from seed of a friend of ours, the late Alistair McKelvey, brought back from the Himalayas. And then of course the Salmisias from New Zealand. And so as we go round, you'll see so many plants that many of you would think, what a weedy garden. Well, not in my view. It's a garden full of flowers. Wild flowers, cultivated flowers, native flowers, introduced flowers. But they're all valuable and they're all good, and they all help the biodiversity here. Doronicum in there, the yellow Doronicum european. It collapsed in the terrible wind and rain we had. But I don't like staking, it looks too artificial. So you just let them fall down and then they come back up again. And it looks like you've got a short, compact form of Doronicum, when what you've actually got is the stems have fallen horizontally and then come back vertically. More Aricemas, the big leaves. So where does the garden go from here? What's the next phase? Well, I suppose the next phase is more of the same for the summer. There's a period where it all starts to die back. All the early growth will start to go as the summer warms up, if it ever does. But I just love, for the meantime, the way Corydalis intermix with the... So Corydalis from the Himalayas intermixing with Geranium robertianum and the other digitalis, the Ruscoias and the digitalis, the Aricemas. But there will be a point where, as I say, it'll start to collapse and I'll start to clear it up. And that's when I'll start to cut back. I'll have to cut the hedges, cut back a lot of the growth that we don't want. So the view there was earlier was of erythroniums and all the wonderful bulbs and the aranthus and the snowdrops. You would never think that looking at all this now. It's just, well, what can I say? It's our garden, and this is how we like it. So I'll finish off there and say I'll see you next month, or the next time I make a video, and see what we're seeing then. So thanks for being with me. Do go online to srgc.net and look up my bulb log there, where you'll find my over 1,000 diaries that I've written over the past 22 years. And you'll read more and see more of the garden. And in the earlier years, I tended to concentrate very heavily on growing plants, how you grow them, and looking at their structure. And more latterly, as I've got older and my energy's changed, to just painting the garden, just like it was one of my paintings or one of my prints. The garden's another canvas for me to work on. And I've just spotted, as I'm saying goodbye for this trip, there's another Ruscoia in there. So thanks very much for being with me, and I am away this time. Goodbye, see you next time. Enjoy your gardens.